After Thursday's practice, Coach Lincoln Riley said the players are still thinking it over.
You are Locked On Trojans, your daily podcast on the USC Trojans, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Fight on, everyone. I'm your host, Mark Holkin, and thank you for making Locked On USC part of the Locked On Network, your first listen every day. Whether you're watching this show on YouTube, wherever you're going to download it, it's free. I appreciate your support. Thank you very much. Today's episode is brought to you by Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDONCollege for $20 off your first purchase. But everyone's attention has been, kind of tuned into recruiting and the transfer portal for good reason. But for the guys who haven't jumped into the transfer portal yet, they still have football practice. So Lincoln Riley spoke to the media after practice on Thursday. It was a little bit of a drizzly end of the afternoon there. Answered a myriad of questions like who's going to be your next linebacker coach. Right now, Bryson Allen Williams will be coaching the linebackers for the bowl game. He's been helping out Coach Entz this year. And Coach Riley said, look, they're going to be really deliberate when it comes to hiring the next coach. They got a nice long list of candidates, guys who are interested. Coach Riley was asked if Bryson is in the mix, and Coach Riley was like, yeah, sure, why not? I'm not sure if it caught it by surprise. Let's just be honest. I don't think Bryson will be the guy, not because he's not capable. I think USC needs to have a little bit more of a splashier type of hire. And this would be Bryson's first job as an assistant position coach. I don't know if USC is a place to be your first time. You know what I'm saying? I like the guy. Energetic, the players relate to him, got a future, and Coach Riley really emphasized that. Bryson has got a future in the coaching industry, so we'll see what happens down the line. Now, Coach Riley said, there's players still thinking about jumping into the transfer portal, opting out was really what he was talking about with the bowl game. Typically, if somebody opts out and they're not eligible for the NFL, that probably means they're moving on. So Riley said he will eventually release a list of all the opt-outs, but he said guys are still making decisions. Among the guys who were at practice on Thursday, I know you're all waiting, finding out. Zachariah Branch, his brother Zion, safety. Left tackle Elijah Page. We're going to talk about him here shortly. And then wide receiver Jacoby Lane, Kamari Ramsey, safety. He was there. The reason I bring up Kamari Ramsey's name is because some people think he's going to put his name in the NFL draft market. He's good. I think he's trying to find out what kind of draft grade he's going to get, and then he'll make that decision. And while these two guys haven't officially said anything yet, I'm pretty sure, and I think Coach Riley confirmed it, Jonah Monheim or Emmanuel Prignon will not be playing in the bowl game. They shouldn't. They don't need to be. Time for them to move on. Next chapter in life. So again, don't forget, USC, they got a big game coming up. Marquee game. They're playing Texas A&M 2 days after Christmas in Las Vegas. USC started the year there. They're going to end the year there. Perfect way to, bookend your season. Beat the SEC in the first game. Beat the SEC in the second game. Coach Riley also addressed USC's quarterback situation. Jake Jensen, he's in the transfer portal, but he is going to be the backup in the game. So you got to appreciate that type of selflessness. Kind of giving it up for the team before he goes on to his next chapter in life. I'm hoping that he gets to put some stuff on film in this game before he packs his bags for good. That'd be cool. Elijah Page, brought him up, mentioned him. Excuse me. There's been some conjecture, some speculation that maybe Elijah would jump into the transfer portal. Well, you know what? I don't think so. I think he is your new team leader. Face of the program type of guy. For the last 2 years, he's learned how to play the most important position on the offensive line. Blind side, left tackle, 6'7", 320 pounds. He's a redshirt freshman this year. Okay, redshirt freshman left tackle. He is ready to take the mantle. Number one, without Jonah and without Emmanuel playing in the game, he's literally the old man in the room. Killian O'Connor, technically, is older. He's a junior. Elijah's on scholarship. Killian preferred walk-on. That's really the distinction I'm making there. So both he and Killian will be the anchor on the offensive line when they face Texas A&M in the Las Vegas Bowl. Spit that out. Let me get a drink of water here. So let's take really quickly through Elijah's timeline here. He's only been at USC for 2 years. As a true freshman, Coach Henson, his position coach, he had to send him down to the scout team. He had to send a message. Go get your butt kicked. Go learn how to play every play like it might be your last play. That was a learning experience for Elijah Page. And then last year also, he got to, kind of lean in a little bit to Justin Diedick and Jonah Monheim. Use those two guys, their experience, to kind of walk, Elijah through the process. It's a learning curve, playing left tackle and supposed to be the anointed one, the next guy in line. There's certain steps you have to take in the process. And a lot of times you learn the hard way. And so this year you had Jonah. He was there to make sure that Elijah understood, hey, you know what? You had that Michigan game. It sucked. Use it as a learning experience, just like you used being sent down to the scout team as a freshman. But ever since that game against Michigan, Elijah's been really solid. He's turning himself into an elite left tackle. And he didn't let those bad things, as he said, discourage him and keep him down. He said he learned, he used them as a learning experience, again, to be encouraged by it. Rise to the occasion. So here's the thing with Elijah, because he spoke to the media after practice. He's now at the point in his career where he knows he's good enough to do it. He understands that. He's seen it. He knows he can get the job done. That's a great feeling. Now he gets to take the next step. He's going to be the guy that guys like Micah Banuelos or Justin Tahuanu, they're going to look now to Elijah for guidance leading up to the bowl game. If they're playing in the game, hey, what's the call? What do I do here? Elijah's going to be the guy those guys lean on. Essentially, you grow up real fast now. Elijah's the big brother. He's being given the responsibility, looking after his younger siblings. Mom and dad aren't around. So now he's going to grow up real fast. This is where Elijah understands responsibility, accountability, not just for himself, but for the team. It's literally the next page in his career. Yeah, makes sense, doesn't it? Now, with that said, Elijah could still change his mind. Someone could come along, guarantee him a starting job and an offer he can't refuse. But he said, playing in this game, he also intends to return next year. And this is why. I think it's important I committed here, not for any of those outside reasons that I just mentioned. I committed here because I see Coach Riley's vision, and I believe in him, and I trust him, and I'm a part of it. And so I've never had interest in any of that. I just want to grind and get better. All right. It's a great answer. If you're the starting left tackle at USC, you're getting something. I promise you, Elijah isn't eating bologna sandwiches and struggling, living in a dorm on campus. He's doing okay. I have no idea what his NIL package is. But again, you're the starting left tackle at USC. I'm sure they're treating him okay. So just keep grinding, keep getting better. right, I want to stay on the good news highway here before we close out this first segment. Also today, USC got their first ever Ray Guy Award winner. Congratulations to Eddie Chaplitsky, the punter. Yeah, he kicked the rest of the field to the curb, won the award. He was first team All-American. That makes it number 177 for USC in her history. That's a lot of All-American, first team All-Americans. The last time that happened, USC had a first team All-American punter. Tom Malone, 2003, Tom the Bomb Malone. Back then, we were talking about Tom in hushed tones. Let's get him the Heisman. Tom was a great punter. I mean, his kicks they hung in the air, and they went 45 to 50 yards every single time. You could not return the kick against him. Unfortunately, he didn't qualify in 2003 because he didn't have enough kicks to qualify. So congratulations to Eddie. This year, he ranked first in net yards, 45 and a half yards per punt. But what won him the award was his pinpoint accuracy, being able to kill the ball inside the 20 like a witch. I mean, the dude was amazing. It's like he picked up the wedge in your golfing, and you needed just to drop that ball on the green with no movement. That was the end result every time he punted. You want more good news going into the weekend? Here we go. It's the transfer portal season. We know that. We've been talking about it all week. Well, check this out. So USC is hosting a bunch of transfers right now throughout the weekend. After practice, Eric McKinney spotted Keyshawn Silver. I talked about him on yesterday's episode of Locked on USC, as well as cornerback Jason Johnson. Well, here's the good news. Johnson, who he didn't even wait to finish his official visit to USC. He committed. USC has a cornerback to replace one of their top four who have to move on. They're out of eligibility. Johnson was a starter at the University of Central Florida. He still has 4 years of eligibility left. That's good. This year, he had 14 tackles. He started the last 4 out of 5 games. He had 14 tackles, 2 pass deflections, and he finished the year with 18 tackles total. Another cornerback that I think is going to end up at USC, talked about him on yesterday's episode, DJ Harvey. He's visiting this weekend, wearesc.com, the other place you can find me when you're not here. They submitted a prediction. Yeah, SC is going to be the place to be. There's going to be a lot of playing time for cornerbacks in the secondary. Again, top 4 guys moving on. And we don't know what's happening with actually top 5 guys. Could be 6 if Kamari Ramsey puts his name into the NFL draft. As far as Keyshawn Silver, big 6'4", 340-pound defensive tackle from the University of Kentucky. Talked about him earlier in this week about him. He's got 1 year of eligibility left. He is this year's Derek Harmon, the guy from Michigan State that USC wanted, that Oregon paid big for last year. Well, apparently, Keyshawn, he didn't take his visit to Miami. That was his plan after he visited Florida first. It sounds like right now this could be a 2-team race. USC versus Michigan. Go check out the rest of the intel over on wearesc.com. Scott Schrader has got it all for you. Look, I know y'all are upset about Deuce Robinson going into the transfer portal, but it doesn't look like USC's going to lose Jacoby Lane. Zachariah Branch was at practice. They're working hard to keep him in the fold. Lincoln Riley at USC, they got a guy coming in this weekend, freshman wide receiver from the University of Tulsa. His name's Joseph Williams. He's 6'2", 210 pounds. Beast. The young man just goes and gets the ball. There's a couple of highlights I've seen. Yeah. When they say go get the ball, what we wanted to see from guys from Deuce Robinson, Joseph Williams does that. Go check out his highlights. Really good. How good was he for Tulsa? Well, he was the freshman conference offensive player of the year. Not bad. 30 receptions, 588 yards, 5 touchdowns. It's someone you want on USC's roster. That's all I'm going to say. See, as I told you yesterday, This is why you become an everyday listener, viewer of the show. It's not as bad as it appears. The sun's still going to come out tomorrow, and USC will still be the team everyone loves to hate because USC still gets attention from everybody. All right. Stick around. We got a lot more to talk about on the show. When was the last time you went to any live event? USC game, concert, comedy show, anything? Are you an NBA fan? You going to go check out the Lakers, the Clippers? I don't know. Have you heard of Game Time? Game Time has a feature called Game Time Picks. And if you're trying to get tickets, the best seat, the best price, go to gametime.co. Just open up your app. It's there. Trust me. Game Time has two really cool features that I like. The first one is called Game Time Picks. It's going to get rid of all the fluff. It's only going to show you the best seats at the best prices. And so you know what you're going to see before you check out. They have a feature where you can actually view the action from your seat. So now you know what you're getting. And Game Time has a guarantee. If you find a ticket in the same section and row for less, they're going to guarantee you 110% of the difference. Take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code LOCKEDON for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code LOCKEDON for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. You want to talk about next year's schedule? I do. We haven't had a chance yet. It was released the other day. So much going on right now. I just haven't had a chance to kind of break it down with you for a few. So here we go. Let's do it. USC's got 12 games next year, just like every year. 7 true home games. And it's actually kind of an easy schedule. Let me break it down. Week 1, August 30th. Yeah, it's going to be a warm one. They're hosting Missouri State. Thank you. This is the year, next year, I guess, is the year that they're making the jump from the FCS level to the FBS level. So USC still is the last team on record that has not played an FCS team during the regular season, since they made that distinction. The following week, USC's welcoming home Clay Helton and Georgia Southern. It's going to be interesting to see what kind of response Clay gets. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to be disappointed if you boo him. Don't do that. I get the situation, the way the team was when he left. He didn't hire himself. He didn't pay himself. Just show your respect. Just applaud him politely. Give him a golf clap. Thank you, Clay. Then USC hits the road. Finally, right? 2 games at home. First conference game at Purdue. They're going to Indiana twice next year. So you're at Purdue September 13th. Purdue just hired a new head coach. The guy who turned UNLV into a pretty good team, Barry Odom. Barry Odom is a defensive-minded coach. We're going to see what kind of effect he could have on Purdue, and will Purdue be ready for USC when they show up week 3? After that, USC comes home. It's going to be the battle of USC Trojans, the men of Troy versus Sparta, Michigan State. Well, going into this season, USC did not have a losing record against any team in the big conference. They played Maryland. They're 0-1 against them. Michigan State and USC, they're 4-4 against each other. So we got to make sure that doesn't happen again. The last time these two teams played was 1988, and this is going to be the first time the Spartans are making a trip to the Coliseum since 1970. It's been a while. After that, so you got USC, first 4 games, just went over it. Missouri State, Georgia Southern, on the road at Purdue, Michigan State at home. Then USC goes to Illinois. See how that game turns out. Illinois had a pretty decent team in 2024. Last time they met was that Rose Bowl. USC kicked their butt. That was a team with Ray Mayaluga. They beat up on Juice. What was the quarterback's name? I can't remember. Number 7. But just, yeah, high-scoring game, but USC owned it. USC's 11-2 all-time versus the Fighting Illini. Then USC gets their first bye week. And then Michigan comes to town. Yep, Michigan. First time since 1957. We all remember the comeback that they had against USC. Game 3 this year. Cannot happen again next year. Then, so you've got Michigan. And I guess I should make this little footnote. Michigan has this game against USC it's sandwiched in between. They play Wisconsin the week before and then Washington the week after. Who should Michigan be preparing for first? It'll be an interesting game. I anticipate USC winning that game. So after Michigan at home, USC is on the road at Notre Dame, October 18th. That'll be the second time they go to Indiana within a 4-week period. I better get used to it. I'll fly into Indiana for the Purdue game. I'll fly into Chicago for the Notre Dame game. This is how we do it. And I'm not sure. I might even be flying into Chicago for the Purdue game. First time. Bucket list. After Notre Dame, bye week number 2, and then USC travels to Nebraska to open up November. I am looking forward to this game. USC is undefeated versus Nebraska, 5-0. I was there back in 2007, had the best time of my life. Want to do it again. After USC plays Nebraska, they come home, they host Northwestern, and then after that, a week later, they host Iowa. That should be an interesting game. Based on the way USC's offense played this year, yeah, that could be a low-scoring game. We'll see what happens. And then USC's final 2 games of the year, their final road game, they travel up to Oregon November 22nd, and then USC hosts the school out west, UCLA, the South, November 29th, Crosstown Showdown. You look at that schedule, the way it's set up, I'll say it right now. Minimum 9 wins. Got to be. It's got to be 9 wins, no less. I'll take it a step further. Well, no. 9 wins is the minimum. There's a lot that USC has to fix before the season starts. But, that's going to be year 4 for Lincoln Riley. And if you're not showing improvement, the team developing, and your record improving, I don't know if it's going to be up to Lincoln Riley anymore. He can tell, University of Central Florida, who made inquiries about him, if he'd be interested in coaching there, and he said, I'm a Trojan. You can say that now, but, another 7-5, 8-4 season unless something, really crappy happened where you can say, all right, you know what? I lost my starting quarterback, my backup quarterback, 3/5 of my offensive line, 3/4 of my defensive line. Unless everything just caved in, I don't think Lincoln Riley has any excuses. And USC's athletic director, Jen Cohn, is going to have some hard decisions to make after year 4. Because there's just too much money involved right now. And USC cannot keep falling behind. They got to get into the playoffs eventually. So if you really want to know how I feel about this, when you're done making Locked On USC your first listen every day, and by the way, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that subscribe button. Smash that thumbs up. I know you like it. Everybody loves smashing things. Hit that bell notification button so you don't miss an episode. If you really want to find out, get over to WeRC.com. I wrote my yay or nay column. I know it comes across a little harsh, but again, I'm just kind of pointing things out and saying, is time up? Is Lincoln Riley's clock getting low? That's all I'm asking. Get ready to tackle the NFL action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Right now, new customers, if you can bet $5, you can get $150 in bonus bets if that first $5 bet wins. The FanDuel Sportsbook app gives you everything you need to place live bets on the NFL, and you can do now everything all in one place. You can check out the stats. You can check out live play-by-play. And of course, you're going to FanDuel.com because you're placing your bets. Just visit FanDuel.com. Join today. You're going to get started with $150 in bonus bets if you win your first $5 bet. That's FanDuel.com. Never waste a hunch. Make every moment more with FanDuel, an official sportsbook partner of the NFL. It's Friday. It's time for me to rant, get something off my chest. It's been an up and down week. It's been a roller coaster week. Recruiting. You had the transfer portal opening up. It hasn't been great. It's been a roller coaster. Some ups, some downs. Today, the week ended well, and it's not over yet. We'll see what happens during the weekend. But let's talk about recruiting. Kids, young adults signing. Remember when recruits signed with a program? Remember that? Remember back in the day? It wasn't that long ago. It really wasn't. We all took the day off from work in February, and we sat around the TV, whatever, sat in front of the computer, and we watched guys like Joe McKnight take out the hat, put it on, and say, I'm committing to USC. I'm taking my talents to the University of Southern California. And that's how we reported it. Joe would sign his letter of intent, put it on the fax machine. Everybody was happy. Well, today, this is how it's done. Today we say USC signed Jakeem Stewart for $2 million per season. What? This is not the NFL. This is college. This is that's the thing. It's not college football anymore. No matter how hard somebody tries to spin it, it ain't college football anymore. It's semi-pro. And I'll take it a step further. It's pro. It's the minor leagues of the NFL. We need to separate our college football, college basketball to a lesser extent needs to separate itself from the rest of the university. Go ahead and make the school money, but let's not be naive. It's a business now. Nobody at USC or Georgia or Alabama or Ohio State, Oklahoma, Oregon, they never cared. They don't care if kids are going to class. They just don't. Not as long as the coffers are ringing up. Maybe back in the day, they put on that facade. Oh yeah, we've got academics. It's important. No, not anymore. Giving players a piece of the financial pie is great. Got no problem with that. But allowing the players to kind of reshape the game and the way rosters are being built, I don't know. For me, it seems kind of a bit of an overcorrection from the NCAA. I know their hand was forced. Hands are tied now. But, why don't you think about putting in some new rules, some new guidelines? Like, why is the transfer portal open right now? The season's not even over. You just had the early signing period. Coaches are trying to get their teams ready for postseason play. And meanwhile, you got guys saying, forget this. I'm going to go get paid. I'm going to go play over there. This doesn't make any sense. Again, why? You want to know why the transfer portal is open right now? And again, it comes back to giving the players, the recruits, the kids, finger quote, the freedom to move, to do what they want to do for academic reasons, so they can be enrolled in January, so they can be, finger quotes, eligible to play for their new team. I mean, the irony of it is just mind-blowing. I mean, the irony that academics are the reason for the December transfer window. Get rid of it. You're killing college football. I'm not saying take away their right to transfer. But you don't need 2 opportunities within a 4-month time frame. Get rid of the December window. You got that spring window. Let everybody jump through hoops then. Because I think, and I truly believe this, more young men will say, you know what? I don't know if they got a scholarship available for me at that school. Someone might be telling me they can get me this much money, but then do I have to pay to go to school? Well, guess what? Welcome to the real world. That's how it works. It ain't college football anymore. This is the pro ranks, just at a different level. We're there. Talked about it earlier in the week. Coach Riley said it. I don't want to say it, but it's professional football now. All right. I will be back with more episodes of Locked On USC. If something breaking happens during the weekend, I'll be back with another episode. But I will definitely be back with another 5 episodes next week. So again, if you're watching on YouTube, hit that bell notification so you don't miss an episode. If you are a subscriber, thank you very, very much. Tell a friend. Make them subscribe. Do it for them. All right. Thanks again for making Locked On USC your first listen, first watch every day. When you're done with that, get on over there to wearec.com. Don't forget about Locked On College Football. There's a lot of stuff going on. So we got you covered. Until that next episode, everyone, you know what to do.